Is weed legal in Germany?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not yet. Very soon.
Yeah.
This year, in fact.
I just assumed it was because, like, you know.
I think it's like France, where everyone doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of London is
like
fairly
the police will
the police.
like if you clearly have a bag on you, the police are gonna like do
yeah.
it. I think what was specified, what was illegal, was selling. Like actual possession is not actually the illegal part. It's only if you have a big enough quantity to like, if they really wanted to fuck you over, say you had like 50 euros worth on you, they like, I think the limit's like 20. Which they'll let you off with. If they really wanted to press charges, they'll be like, but you're a seller or something. It's like, no, this is personal because, you know, it's like that.
Dealer laws in the UK are really,
but
they're really like weird because you can technically be tried as a drug dealer if you're like smoking and you pass it to the person next to you.
And they're big on quantity. I think it's like they will weigh it. They will put it on a scale and it'd be like, if it's more than a gram, I believe, which would be £10, then it's like considered more than personal possession.
I think there are similarly weird sex work laws in the UK. It's like there's like, it's like certain parts of it are technically not, it's not illegal to do certain things related to sex work, but like there are some things that you can't do that basically makes it impossible from a legal standpoint.
I think it's literally like the direct exchange of cash.
I think so.
When the service immediately follows or something. Whereas like I think if you just delay the payment, they're like, we can't do shit. Like it's not illegal to have sex.
Sex is illegal in the UK.
Sex is illegal in the UK.
I wouldn't be surprised. Some arcane law.
Is this still the cold open?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is really cold. Like we're like turkey out of the freezer on Christmas Day cold, you know.
Sex is illegal in the UK. Play the intro music.
Everyone, welcome back to another episode of Double Vision. I am Joanna.
I am Kyle.
And we have a very special guest. We have Jamie, he, him pronouns.
Hello, that's me.
And today's episode theme is
emo.
And I have no idea where the inspiration for this came from, so perhaps you can enlighten me.
Yeah, we have Jamie here, who is kind of now our resident expert on all things emo. If you wanted to give like the briefest of histories.
The briefest of. Okay, so like maybe I would preface this by saying, first of all, I'm British and 25, so I don't really fit the demographic of what emo was, even in third wave. Sort of like third wave emo spanned 2000 to maybe 2010. I got into the scene in 2011. So everything that I know about this is sort of looking back historically. We typically talk about emo in 3 waves. The first wave came from the 1980s. It came out of like this post-hardcore punk scene in the US. Often gets traced back to Rites of Spring, a band called Rites of Spring, who fucking hated that label. They said, I've never recognized emo as a genre of music. Nevertheless, that's where it usually gets traced back to in the 80s. You then get in the 90s second wave emo or Midwest emo with bands like Sunny Day Real Estate, Piebald, Cap'n Jazz. This, I think, is probably when emo like took a form that sort of started to develop stereotypes, this, that, the other. Sunny Day Real Estate also say they're not emo. I suppose you've got to find some labels, but we don't recognize it. And this is maybe a point that I'm trying to get across as we go through. You then move into third stage, third wave emo, which is what a lot of people our age end up talking about. This is when you get bands like My Chemical Romance, Fall Out Boy, Panic at the Disco, Jimmy Eat World. And then you sort of had scene kids running alongside that, which is a whole different thing. There's quite a lot of overlap, but they were distinct movements. And then now we've got sort of emo resurgence, what I'm referring to as fourth wave emo, which I kind of feel draws more from what scene was than what emo was, and maybe talk about that a little bit more in depth later. But those are kind of the 3 waves. And so I came like late stage third wave emo. And so that's where my knowledge and experience of the scene will come from.
With this kind of framework, it suggests that like emo is at its end of its lifespan.
emo ended in like 2012, I want to say.
But how can a genre end?
Bands weren't making that kind of music. Everyone, like, Fall Out Boy came back, but they moved into what I mentally refer to as like action movie rock, like the kind of rock that like you think of someone walking away from an explosion to, or like a 2-minute
Imagine
long
Dragons
over choreographed
kind of thing.
Imagine Dragons type, like Bastille type music. A lot of people who were in the emo scene either moved into like indie or metal, or some of them moved, I think scene kids kind of lasted a little bit longer because they moved into like techno and dance music. So a lot of them went that way. But emo as it was in the early 2000s, in that third wave, kind of disappeared around 2012 and now has kind of come back in this sort of like nostalgia resurgence way. But I think what's weird about this wave, like this fourth wave of emo, is it's the first time that I've seen people willingly call it that. Like even when I was into it in like 2011, 2012, if you said that what I was listening to was emo, I like would have been offended. And I didn't know anyone that was in that scene that would actively call themselves an emo. I think I maybe knew one or two people that like actively called themselves emo. And it was pretty widely understood that they were scene kids and not actually in this emo circle. So it's kind of a weird label.
I appreciate the crash course, honestly, because as someone who was never a part of the emo scene or even remotely educated about it, it's always nice to know, because I think, so what we've done in this episode is everyone has come with 3 songs, which we defined as emo. Perhaps Jamie and Joanna more accurately defined as emo than I have, but there's like something we can talk about as well, because I don't really know what constitutes emo. I just drew upon stereotypes in my head as to what that might sound like or even look like. So I think before we dive any deeper, shall we just hit it off with the first song?
Sure.
Yeah.
Wicked. So the first one is from Jamie. Take it away.
Yeah. So this is Time Travel by Never Shout Never. I think just play it and we'll talk about it afterwards.
Sweet.